The Road to Rock podcast.
Welcome to the Road to Rock podcast. I'm Elysa, and this is the podcast that goes behind the scenes of the rock music industry. On this episode, it gives me great pleasure to be joined by Jinani, who are down here in Bournemouth to play a gig at Madding Crowd. Guys, welcome to the South Coast.
Thank you.
So, just been hearing you sound check. How's it all going? Is this your first socially distanced gig?
No. Kind of. We did a Planet Rock live stream gig, which was completely surreal because there was just cameras, just like now. So it's like playing a show now. But that was cool. But this is our first actual live socially distanced gig yet.
Right. What are you expecting? What do you think it's going to be like? Because it is a sold-out gig, I have to say. The gig is sold out tonight, but it's not going to be your normal sold-out crowd. So,
I think. Ooh, shall I say some hello, everybody? I think what it is when before lockdown in the good old days, you get a definite connection, you know, with people being close, and you feed back off that. And I'm sure I'll speak for the other guys as well when you do that. There is a definite connection there, and there's a lot of energy and all that business. So to play a gig where there's people sitting down and it's table service and it's like, oh, I'll have a glass of water, thank you, and all that business. I think that's going to be different. But we're just going to go there tonight and just have a giggle, just going to have a laugh.
The set dictates that as well, though, because we're doing a stripped back show, and that's on purpose. So because we can't go like to 11, so there's no point trying to. I don't think we'd enjoy it. I don't think the crowd would enjoy it. Like, you know, we're going to be jumping around on stage and everybody's got to be seated. That's stupid.
yes, you do have to kind of rein it in a bit, so people don't get the urge to.
Well, just like earlier, after sound check, and then you start getting fired up, and I'm going to go and sit on a stool. So it's a bit alien, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and so you guys are from the Black Country, aren't you? From the Midlands. How are things up there for you?
Still shit, really. Yeah.
Same here.
No. Seriously, it's it's good. It's difficult for everybody really with all the bands out there now because we all want to play, but ultimately we can't. So the chance that we had to play this gig was straight away. As soon as they said, "Look, do you want to come and play the gig?" We were like, "Get us there." It was like, "Get us there," because I mean. How true it is, I don't know what's going to happen in the next week or so, but it looks quite grim, really, doesn't it? So this really is going to be one where we're going to go out with a bit of a bang, aren't we?
Absolutely. Have we got a charity gig tomorrow?
Yeah, we do, yeah. We have a charity gig quite local to us at a decent venue, so that's sold out again. Not blowing their own trumpet and all that, but yeah, that's sold out, so that should be fun.
So describe your style of music for anybody that hasn't heard you guys before. What is Jinani? What's the name about as well?
Oh. So we're named after a ghost.
You're kidding me.
No.
And we're doing this on Halloween.
We are, aren't we? Wow. So when we started rehearsing, so Jinani's been through like a strange history. We started off as a covers band. In fact, this is mine and Dave's first and only band. Mm-hmm. So for some reason, Dave decided he wanted to start a band, and he put on Facebook, and we're cousins. I went to the same school, and he's like, "I'm starting a band," and I just like messaged him.
You're a bit older than me, though, aren't you?
I'm younger than David. So he's like, "I'm starting a band," and I just messaged him on the off chance. I was just like, "Oh, that's wicked, dude," and he's like, "You've got to join. Let's like start a band." So we did for shits and giggles. But my parents owned a pub at the time, and we used to rehearse upstairs there. And as things progressed, people used to come to like hear us rehearse and stuff. So that was quite cool. And we were struggling for a name, and there was a guy that used to use the pub called John, Spanish John was his name because he spent a lot of time in Spain. But I digress. And he suggested Jinani, and we said, "Why Jinani?" And he said there used to be a ghost at the pub. The old landlady was named Annie, and she was partial to gin. And when she passed on, gin used to go missing. And they used to say, "Oh, that's Jinani." So that's literally. And we're like, "That name's that shit. It's good." Like, as soon as he said, "It's like that's completely rubbish."
But it works.
Yeah, thank you, Spanish John, who's now dead. bless him, bless him. Yeah, because it's just ironic, isn't it? It's just
Sangria John.
And they're all drinking. So what influences did you take at the time? Did you know what kind of sound you wanted to have as a band?
Yes, I think so. It's difficult really because when me and Byron originally put the band together, we kind of liked the same things, didn't we? We liked the classic sound. We liked the Bon Jovis, the Guns N' Roses, the AC/DCs. Again,
like to be able to hear what people are singing about.
yes. So I'm not into the screaming. You know, it's not my thing. So yeah, I like the melody. So that was the idea, wasn't it? Was to try and have like a bit of an edge. It needed to have an edge. It couldn't be soft. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? The music couldn't be soft. You know what? In a hole, that's where I'm going. Oh, that sounds even worse. Yeah, so it needed to have a bit of an edge. So the idea was to sort of have the heavy guitars and the drums and the bass that sort of hit you there. But there needed to be melody, ultimately. So that's what we sort of set out to do. There's been a couple of changes in line-up. So when Brian came on guitar and Phil on bass, things shifted again. And we sort of honed our sound, so to speak, didn't we? So I suppose if you were to liken us to something, I would say I'd look at your Blackstone Cherry, maybe. Maybe Bros. Nukies on the Block were
No,
good.
I haven't heard them for a
NKOTB,
while.
they were good. They were good. No, but that's what we are. We sort of like a heavy sound with a melody, ultimately. No, yeah. No, yeah.
That's what we've been missing in the rock music scene.
I think so.
personally.
I think so.
so.
We've got the right stuff, haven't we? You see what I did?
Well, I can't wait for this gig tonight. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So getting started, when did you guys, are you signed to a record label? When did things start getting a bit
Oh,
serious
this is
for
technical
you?
now, so I'll back this.
Do you remember?
I don't mind taking this one, or do you want to take this one? Do you want to take this one? I could take this one. Well, I mean, I got with these guys November 2017, so nearly 3 years ago. And it's funny because on the way down, me and Hammer were chatting, and within the first year of us being with Ginani, we'd already toured with Graham Bonnet of Alcatraz and Rainbow and that sort of stuff. And believe it or not, literally 2 years ago today, we were on tour in Europe with Diamond Head, doing 23 dates over 29 nights. Unfortunately, we won't go into that. It fell through. It was 2 years ago today that we were kicked in the balls, weren't we? Left stranded in Belgium. That's a whole new story. We'll have a bottle of wine. We'll talk about it later. But so to be fair, I think it was pretty serious very early on. I mean, I got together with these guys. I've been playing in other bands. I'd played like in a Def Leppard tribute band for like 11 years, and other bands. I knew the guys through one of those bands, and we sat down in a pub one evening, and they said, you know, we're looking at a lineup change. Might be right up your street. So I said, okay, we'll see where it goes. And within 6 weeks, me and Hammer had joined. One of our first gigs was supporting Slade. I think it was at Christmas.
I was going to say, please tell me it was Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. So to be honest, Elysa, from literally week one, it's very serious, and we're all very committed. You know, this is the sort of band that if someone said to us, right, setting aside lockdown, if we need you in New York City next Friday, we'd be there. We would find a way to do it. Yeah, we would be there.
I think the actual turning point came though
when I joined.
Yeah, when Brian joined, everything changed. I think when we were doing really well as a covers band, like stupidly well. We were playing every weekend, and it was all good fun. Me and Dave started writing a track off our debut album called Damage. It was the first track me and Dave ever wrote, and we were meant to be doing a promotional video for covers because we started to like headline bigger places like the Robin 2 ran by us in Wolverhampton. It's a decent sized venue, and we were doing that as a covers band, and we were doing a promotional video to try and attract more gigs like that. But we'd started to write, and Dave was like, sod the the cover stuff. Let's try and write this, like finish this track, and we'll shoot a promotional video for that instead. So we wrote Damage, and like we launched that, and it got like 40,000 views in like, I don't know, like 2 days, 3 days or something, and that encouraged us to write more. But because we started doing this original thing, kind of alienated us away from the covers that we got known for, but also the other guys in the band. It was in a different direction for them, and that's when we knew, okay, we need to start to realign ourselves to be able to do the original stuff, because we really enjoyed writing. And then we just went off like a pop rocket then. It's all been a bit of a blur since. It's just like built up around us.
Wow. And Lewis, you are the newest member of the band on drums,
I
aren't you?
am quite fresh, yeah, you could say that.
Fresh in face, yeah. And is it August that you joined the guys?
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it, I think? Yeah, around that time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was late August, yeah.
Late August.
Joined during the pandemic. I did my research. You joined during the pandemic. How did that come about? What were you doing before?
I had a message. I was actually applying to become a drum teacher. I'd just done probably the shittest audition of my life, and I was like, today can't get any worse. Then Dave messaged me, and now we met for a beer, didn't we? It's kind of gone from there. Talked things through, and yeah, it's really fun. I've enjoyed it.
Guys before?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of best mates with Byron's nephew. We were at school together, and his nephew Jack, bless him, he's always like, oh yeah, my uncle's in a band. Oh yeah, cool. You see all these things popping up on my face, like, why don't you tell me your uncle's doing that? That's sick. Like, you know, going on tour with Diamond Head, I saw that come up and like Planet Rock stuff and all this. And I was like, Jack, why aren't you like telling me about this stuff? Oh, I don't even know, kind of thing. So then to be asked to be a part of something that you kind of idolise for like a few years or so in the works, it's really nice. Yeah.
That's great. But how did you feel joining a pandemic? Because it was like, any gigs coming up? Is there anything going on?
I had nothing else to do.
Right.
No, not like that. But it also really gives you something to look forward to. It's like almost like a light at the end of the tunnel.
It does. And here you are playing
something
today.
to work towards. Yeah, completely. Yeah.
So you mentioned there, you've played Rockstock, you've played Winter's End, you've played Ramblin Man Fair. Correct. You guys are doing well. How?
You know what though? We got such a good year lined up this year. So like we were headlining the Rising Stage at Ramblin Man. I think we got like 2 UK tours set up. We were going to Europe. Yeah, so this year was like killer for us. Yeah. And then nothing. Yeah, so that's a bit, you know, especially when like it comes through on the calendar, because we've got like this band calendar, and then like you'll wake up and you'll be like, oh, I should be in such and such today. I should be in Switzerland. And you're not even allowed like 10 miles away from your house.
Yeah.
So
you can't even step out your garden.
Weird. It's very, very weird.
Yeah, it's such a shame. But what was it like for you headlining, doing those gigs? Which was the better one? Rockstock, Ramblin Man, Winter's End?
Oh, they're all amazing. Oh, they're all really, really good. They're all good on their own merit. I wouldn't pick a favourite out of them. We're happy to play any of them. Ramblin Man, though, that particular, Dave's already mentioned like Blackstone Cherry and stuff, and they were playing the day before us. Yes. And we were like watching them side of stage, and we got to meet them and everything, and you're there on your own merit. And yeah, we were playing the Rising Stage, which is tiny compared to the main stage, but we packed that Rising Stage out. It's like you couldn't see the end of it, and we had a great set, so we were really proud to be invited back to headline it for the first time ever on a Friday. So that's just been moved over. Nothing's been cancelled, everything's postponed. That's the only saving grace of it. That's just the thing that keeps us sane, that nothing is cancelled, it's only postponed.
Yeah, and you never know what might come up in the meantime, like you here today doing social distance gigs.
Plus we've been in the studio since then as well, and we're writing the next album, and we've already recorded 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
We were in Cardiff with Ramesh, and he's produced so many cool bands, especially personally, like Funeral for a Friend and stuff like that. I adore that band. He did Bring Me the Horizon. He featured on a couple of... He engineered.
I think he's done Bullet for My Valentine, Motorhead.
Yeah, he's done... you name it, he's done it. And he's brought a different edge out on us as well, so that's cool.
Interesting. So there is another album coming.
Absolutely.
Oh, what can we expect from this?
It's dance tracks.
A bit of R&B, Dave raps.
A little bit of
Amazing.
New Kids.
Yeah, Dave.
Again, the New Kids on the Block covering
Absolutely.
that niche.
Synchronised dancing. Yeah. A kazoo. glockenspiel.
Thought about any bagpipes?
Well, yeah, maybe. Why not? No, well, no, I have. You've just
Is it
mentioned
finished? Is it finished, the
No.
next album? Still got some work to go on
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
So next year, do you think we'll see it, or?
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
And just before we went into lockdown, you guys actually released a song with a video.
We did. We did it as like we literally had recorded it anyway, and then we just brought forward the music video and stuff. Yeah, so Save Me came out probably 2 weeks into lockdown, and got playlisted on Planet Rock, and yeah, did really well. So.
That's great. How did you feel about bringing that out, knowing that we were then in lockdown? Were you a bit nervous? Did you want to hang on to it a bit longer?
I think it played to our advantage because everything, like, we couldn't play anymore and nobody was playing, and then all of a sudden we got this new track to release, so that kind of, yeah, that helped. Yeah, literally the week before, I think it was the week before national lockdown hit, we were recording that music video, but we knew what was going to happen. And I think it spent about a month in the Amazon chart, which was cool. Yeah, something like that. I think Dave messaged the band and he was like, "We're still in the top 10 of the rock charts." So that was quite cool.
It was a South Africa thing that got me.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really funny. So basically, a guy who works at our label, he sent me a message, and all he sent to me was, "Tell me about South Africa." And I was like, "What do you want to know?" I know a little bit, but I'm no expert, you know. And he said, "Yeah." He said, "You need to explain." I said, "What do I need to explain?" He says, "You've got 2 tracks in their official charts in the top 50." I was like,
No way.
I was like, okay. And then he explained which tracks there were, which were 2 tracks. I think it was Falling and All I Want off the debut album.
It got 26 and 27.
Yeah. In fact, it peaked at 24, 23.
Okay.
So, yeah, in the top 25, we couldn't believe it. Yeah. And we're really lucky because that's paid us about 6 pence.
Least.
Yeah.
Minus tax.
Yeah, minus tax, yeah.
And spread out between you.
Absolutely. We're all about sharing, yeah. So, yeah, it's, yeah. But that was cool.
Wow, that's amazing. So you have quite a strong fan base, a strong following.
It's getting there, isn't it?
I'll tell you what's really weird is we still, I mean, the album came out in January 19, and you need a wee. Oh, God,
Do you want to pause to go wee?
Oh, my God. Please keep that in. We'll crack on. We'll crack on.
Catch you. Back to his break.
Fan base.
Fan base. All
Can I
right.
ask that question again, and we'll just like edit it?
Yeah.
Everybody act like
Like nothing happens, no one moves. You guys all good? Right. So talk about your fan base. You've built up quite a fan base.
I need a wee. I got it. Yeah, I was going to say actually. Yeah, I mean, the album came out in January 19. So what's that? 21 months ago, whatever it is. And what's really nice is I'm still sending out albums now every week. You know, people, and I'm, you know, I sent one I think about a month ago to Peru.
No.
To Peru, and I'm like, have you heard of us in Peru?
shipping was more than the album as well.
And yeah, the
Weird.
shipping's like 15 million quid or whatever it is. I don't know. And what I always do, to be honest, when I send stuff overseas, I always put a personal handwritten message as well, and maybe a couple of extras, a plectrum or whatever, and you get a message back, and it's really sweet. So we sent it to Peru, we sent stuff to Australia, all over Europe, America. I mean, there's stuff in America as well, and we go, how have you heard of us in this tiny town in Seattle or something like that? So it's kind of, you know, word spreading. So it's getting about.
But the fans that we do have, you tend to find with Ginani fans, or Ginners as we call them.
Yeah.
Ginners.
I love that.
They're so loyal and so passionate, and we are a live band. Do you know what I mean? And we do adore playing, and we really enjoy it, and we really like people that dig what we do. And it's just like one big family, isn't it? Like, you know, you see the same people coming to gigs and stuff, and that's really, really cool. So, yeah, it's
I
nice.
think
It's
what's
nice.
sweet is that guy Gary Faber in Boston.
Yeah, he was like desperate to get us to Boston. So desperate to get us to was like, we can't come all the way to Boston, dude, just because you like us. So like, keep spreading it. We would if we could, but yeah.
Every post on Facebook, he'll go, not coming to Boston yet, not coming to Boston yet, Boston. Or he'll put a picture of like Boston or something, won't he? We'll go, yeah, we'll get over there when we can, Gary. Like, but we can't at the moment. It's 10 grand in working visas or whatever it is, I don't know.
Oh. So where were you guys? Were you guys on tour when the pandemic hit, lockdown got announced? What were you doing? What was happening with you?
Writing.
So, yeah. So basically the last gig we ever did, the last gig, sounds terrible. The last gig that we did, we played Planet Rock Winter's End. So that was
That's
February.
here. That's in Poole. That's the next town over.
Dorset, yeah. Dorset. Yeah. There you go. So yeah, that was really cool. And we came off the back of that, and we had a few little murmurs, didn't we? That basically it was going to be, a little bit hit and miss. And we thought, that's right, yeah. So by sort of March, I think, what was it, the 23rd, was it, we started to lock down? I think it was the day after Mother's Day, something like that. Yeah, so, that's where we were. We'd got a lot of plans to play a lot of gigs. We were meant to be in Germany, Switzerland with FM. HRH Ibiza. We've got, obviously, like we touched on before, Ramblin Man. Tour with Toy Keto. So, Gun. Yeah, there's a lot happening. And our own tour, which I will say we sold like nearly 200 tickets in a week in a place in Wales we've never visited. So things were really progressing. It was looking really cool. And then, obviously, that happened.
Could you see it coming? Like, obviously, because it started in the East, we could see it coming.
Yeah.
But at what point did you sit there and realise this is actually going to screw up the rest of the year for us?
I know exactly when that was. Okay. I'll tell you when it was. We met up for a band meeting. And we usually go to this little pub and we sit there and we have our chat, we shoot the shit, the usual. And we sat there and we suddenly became aware that we were the only people in the pub. And we sat there and we went, you know what, lads, this is looking pretty bad. And we said, no, it'll be fine. And then we looked around and everyone says, yeah, the pub's closing next week. So we knew at that point it was going to be bad, really bad, yeah, really bad.
What do you think about the state of the music industry right now?
It's so difficult, isn't it? Because you see these little venues and they're really struggling, they just can't make ends meet. And we play a lot of good venues, don't we? And yes, by all means, we'd love to play the O2 or we'd love to play a stadium. And yeah, of course we would. But these little venues, I mean, the one particular I'll plug is the Waterloo in Blackpool, which is a fantastic venue. The guy there, Ian, has done an amazing job. He's got some serious bands playing there. I mean, he's got Ricky Warwick there and Buck Cherry with recently, and seriously good bands. And he's really struggling. And without getting political, there doesn't seem to be a lot of help for the music industry.
No, it doesn't look that way, does it?
So we're meant to be playing there on Saturday? No, Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
And all this started happening, and obviously Blackpool's had it quite bad, and they got into Tier 3, and then they've got to be able to serve food, and he opened a kitchen to be able to satisfy that requirement. So he's investing left, right and centre to keep it going. And then it was like he's limited to 4 points per person or 2 doubles. So they bought the
Oh, I didn't know that. You're limited on your drink.
Facebook post, and he's like, I can't make it work. What's heartbreaking is everything that they've put, and I wouldn't say they're barriers because they're there for a reason. They're there to keep us safe, and sure, everybody's trying to do the best they can. Nobody's out maliciously. Nobody's trying to hurt us. It's the exact opposite, in fact. But everything they put, every hoop they put, he's jumped through, and then he's just like, they had something else and had something else, and he's just ended up having to like say, no, I'm going to have to close, not permanently, God forbid. But I think the handout that they're providing for the venue still puts him about £2,000 a week worse off. So, yeah. And I don't like the fact that it's deemed non-essential, or we should retrain to do something else and all that kind of stuff.
It's a joke, isn't it?
That's a bit insulting. And I think, well, in lockdown, when people have to stop, and it's coming, and we're going to have to lock down again, and you're at home, people are watching TV, they're listening to music. You rely on the arts at this time to pull you through. But ultimately, we're the ones that are being told you're not essential.
Yeah.
I'd like to see everybody locked down without TV, without the radio, without any music, and see how that sits. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's more important than anything else, but it's definitely not as unessential as they say.
And making it out to be, yeah.
It gives a lot of people purpose. It keeps a lot of people alive. It saves a lot of people. So yeah, I wouldn't say that he's worth retraining as a plasterer. Yeah.
Or in cyber.
In cyber, yeah, absolutely, in cyber.
What about things like, because in lockdown we did see live stream gigs happen.
Sure.
And we saw things like driving gigs try to happen. Do you think that could be the future for?
I hope not. I hope not. Not really. No. I'd rather us all pull together and beat it now, and get over this and get through it, to be able to go back to how it was. It's just. Or at least somewhere near. Or as close as, damn it, absolutely. Because we want the atmosphere, people. You want people. It brings us all closer. Music. That's what it's about. You want people squashed up the barriers. Yeah. You know what I mean? You want to go out and have your picture taken afterwards, and meet people at the merch stand and all that kind of stuff. It's an intimate thing, isn't it? It's too sterile at that. It's not. We can't connect. We can't feed off it, and I don't think it's any fun. You know, for a spectator.
For anybody, it's not for people watching. It's not for you guys playing. It's really hard for you guys playing.
Sure.
It's almost like you have to fill the gaps of where the atmosphere has disappeared. Right. So, this gig that you're doing tonight, the acoustic gig, how do you think? Obviously, you've had to calm it down slightly already. Yeah. How do you think it's going to go down tonight? Are you looking forward to it?
Absolutely, absolutely. We've done
acoustic shows before, haven't we?
Yeah.
And they are a swell.
The thing is, it's completely different, and from my perspective, as a singer, I adore acoustic. Oh. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't have to compete with these bunch of noisy bastards. So I can hear myself sing, and I'm like, yes. But no, I think tonight's going to be like fun. Would you say? It's going to be fun, isn't it? We're going to have a real laugh.
It's chilled out. It's relaxed, isn't it?
Yeah. So it should be good. I'm really looking forward to it. Like, really looking forward.
I think a lot of people
are. You coming?
Yes, I am.
Good.
Yes,
good.
I am.
Good.
And for 2021, I mean, hopefully, who knows what's going to happen next year? If things, like you said, everything's been rescheduled and rolled over, you've got the album as well. 2021, what are we going to see from you guys? Hopefully, where are we going to catch you?
Well,
hopefully everywhere.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, you're going to see the tour with Taiketo. Hopefully, you're going to see the tour with FM. You're going to see our own headline tour. You're going to see album number 2. You may even see something else.
Oh. What is that? Like a film or like a...
Maybe. Oh, you're good at this, aren't you? Yeah, you're good.
I was going to ask you again about album number 2. Is there anything you can tell us about what's on there, or what it might be called, or...
Ooh. The title... Yeah. That would be the shittest name ever, wouldn't it?
Well, like Blur already took that. Blur did Song 2, so don't...
Song 2, yeah.
The Road to Rock.
Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of The Road to Rock, and thank you to Gin Annie for being my guest. If you've missed any episodes or you'd like to catch up or find out more information, go to theroadtorock.com. Thank you to Ben and Wesley from LA Media for making this possible, and thank you to Shelley from Bardo's Beauty for hair and makeup.
The Road to Rock podcast.